Do you get to hear that as well?
I do.
You
It's
also hear
very
the like
fun.
Siri voice
Yeah.
recording, bro.
Recording in progress.
Yeah, you know what's so rough about that is that like in South Africa, if we try to use Siri on the phone, the accent, it doesn't pick it up half the time. So you have to like put
Really?
the accent, yeah, to like,
That's weird.
yeah, it's strange. It's very frustrating. I'm sure you can change it somehow, but I haven't figured that
Right,
part out.
yeah. But why bother when you could just complain about it?
Right?
That's
Exactly.
what that's my MO.
It makes my life very challenging. And so I
And I'm
can
gonna
blame
do
the victim.
nothing about it.
I'm going to change nothing about my life. There we go. I love that. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Storytime. We're here today with Nikki Howard, all the way out of LA. Nikki, thank you so much for being here. I said
Thank
to
you
you
for having
earlier,
me.
I've been such a fan of your content for such a long time. Getting to talk to you for the past 15 minutes before getting into recording. What's so cool about the way that you've handled your career, I'll go into some of your credentials and credits and stuff as well, so that people can know you've literally done so much different stuff within the industry in LA. What's so admirable, that was a cool word. What's so admirable about the way that you handle work is that you kind of stood back and went like, sick, what if I take things into my own hands and choose to be successful at things that I control? Which is super admirable within this industry. Not many people choose to do that. So hats off for that. Thank you for doing that. And that's why I love your content.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate that. Yeah, thank you so much. It's as you know, it's tough business out there, and
Mhm.
no one's really just gonna hand it to you. Sometimes you have to just take it
Yeah,
or try.
you really do. You really, really. So you've got. I'll run through some of it because you've been. I mean, you're killing it within comedy. Um,
Thank you.
but you've also obviously been within the acting space. You in the podcasting space. You in the modeling space. I mean, you've got your own merch, which is fire, by the way. I want to get one of those hoodies. Um, but went through everything: comedian, actress, podcast host, model, host of Sorry Mom podcast. Correct?
Great.
Was listening to
Yeah.
that this morning. I was also watching the clip where you were saying you sent your mother flowers for
Dude,
Mother's Day and you got no thank you.
she
Um,
has a she's got a problem with everything.
yeah,
It's really nice.
yeah.
She was
It's
not
great
happy
when you
with the
try to make her,
flowers.
yeah, try to make her feel special. Yeah, it's a challenge.
Yeah, so that's what I get.
Yeah, that can be your Siri. There we go. Um,
Yeah.
you are known for American Crime Story, starring Sarah Paulson, Sterling K. Brown, and Cuba Gooding. Love Virtually, starring Stephen Tobolowsky. Hope I said that right.
You
Um,
did.
thank you. And Cherie Oteri, Hollywood Grit, starring Tyrese Gibson, Kaylee Cohen. Beyond Paranormal, starring Courtney Palm, was the one that stood out for me. Up and coming, you've got Repoed and Cotton Candy Bubblegum, two feature films, both releasing within this year, right?
Repoed is a series. I'm not sure when it's
Series.
coming out. We're
Okay.
shopping it around, and then Cotton Candy Bubblegum is a feature. I don't know when that's coming out actually. Oh, and Hollywood Grit is coming out hopefully next year.
Okay. I
Really?
thought Hollywood Grit was another one this year as well.
I shot it 2 months ago, something like that. So hopefully it comes out. I know.
Yeah.
And I like do real acting in it, which is, I mean, not like it's not fully comedic, which is fun.
Yeah.
I
There's a
can real
balance.
act. Yeah. I can
Yeah.
do other stuff.
There we go.
Yeah, so it's fun.
What
Yeah.
was the experience like of being on that set? Because as we were saying earlier, obviously both of us within the acting space wanting to do it, having this passion and drive to be an actor, actress, um, you still getting to do it and still do your own things, which
Yeah.
how do you find that balance as a creative to step into a space like that that's like super serious, it's a proper set, but you still have the comedic flair when kind of dealing with your own content?
Well, I think I mean, I started my channel, like I was telling you before we started filming, I started because I grew up acting, just like acting since I was in kindergarten. I went to like an acting middle school that I was like a performing arts, and then I went to school in New York, and I was getting a lot of dramatic roles, but I wanted to do comedy. But everyone said I didn't look funny, so I started my channel as a proof of concept. Long story short, so I'd been on sets before, but they weren't like doing what I wanted to do. And it's very interesting because as I am not at the mercy of Hollywood to be able to perform and do my own stuff, the pressure is off not only just during auditions, but on set. It's given me a completely new perspective of I'm not nervous
Mm.
on a set, no matter how I'm excited, but I'm not like scared I'm not going to be able to perform because I'm constantly doing it. And I I can look at everybody else and go like, oh, everybody is just, I mean, they're doing what I'm doing on a larger scale with more money, but nobody knows what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
we are all just like trying to create. There's no one that's like I am like I'm granted I'm not working with freaking Scorsese, but like we're all just like the director's just like I think this is gonna work. Da-da-da. Like and nobody knows. So it's allowed me to relax and enjoy the process a lot more. But I mean, it's so much. My dream is to just show up and do the thing and leave.
Oh, that would be
Just
amazing.
I don't want to have to do all the things to make
Yeah.
it, but. So in that way, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so grateful anytime I can just show up and perform.
Mm.
So it's just so much fun. But I think that was the answer to your question. That was a very long-winded
No,
response.
no, no,
Did
that's
I answer
perfect.
the
Thank you.
question?
No, that was sick. Thank you. Yeah. Because it's trying to understand like the headspace of everything for me. Like that's what I find fascinating about people that are within the same space that I am, because it's the constant question that I have for myself. So like we finished on a set like 4 or 5 weeks ago, and it's been the first set that I've walked off of and been like, I don't know if I prepped enough, but it's also
Mm,
been the first set ever where personally between myself and directors, producers, I've ever received the most acclaim, which is incredible.
yeah.
But that's so confusing that you like feel like I didn't do enough, but you told
Yeah.
me you really liked
Yeah.
it.
You
So
said it
like,
was good.
yeah,
Yeah, I
no,
know.
you know,
I mean, I think I felt like that too, where I'm like, did we get it?
yeah,
They're like, we got it. We're not gonna move on. I wouldn't move. You just have to trust. Like, we're not moving on until we have it, because this is the whole thing. I gotta make the whole thing. But yeah,
there
I
we
mean,
go.
it's so like in so like we are just such a small piece of a bigger picture, and it's so. Can you hear this dog barking? Because I'm
Yeah,
gonna close. Give me 1 second. I'm so sorry.
it's no stress at all. Love that you have a giant Prozac on the couch.
I know it's my Prozac pillow. It's
You know,
fine.
sometimes life,
You know,
life, yeah.
I'm like, where's my money going? Um, I don't have
Oh,
any money.
yeah, it just flies
Um,
away. Yeah,
it's like I need it.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, I mean, it's so it's so easy to be like, I'm gonna make or break this thing, when in reality, it's like, I'm sure you look back and you're like, oh, that's like this, we are just one small part of like this huge thing. It's like sometimes I'm like, are they even, as long as we show up and do the thing that we're supposed to do, like that's all that matters. Like we've done it. It's like
thousand
they're worried
percent.
about like composing shots and like, I
Yeah,
don't know,
yeah.
getting out
Well,
on time.
it was some of the best advice that I ever got given from my dad. Shout out dad. Um, and he said to me one day, we were chatting about just life and industry and the choices you make. And obviously within this industry, you constantly have that like doubt monster on your shoulder, kind of being like, but maybe if you just, or if you decided, like you just never know which way this is
Yeah.
going to go. Will I see success? Will I not? And my dad said to me, he was just like, sometimes just accept like it's not about you. And
Yeah.
it's such a hard thing to accept because we work in an industry where everything is made to feel that way, where it's like,
Right.
I need to be as good as possible so that I don't embarrass myself, so that I can come to the table and I can make a difference. It's like, actually, just kind of do what they tell you to do,
Yeah.
and everyone's going to continue doing what they do. Like
Yeah. Right.
right? It doesn't make as much of a difference as we like to think that it does.
Yeah.
But when performing, act like it does.
Sure. Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm
I know.
saying?
It's
Like,
very weird.
it's very strange.
I know.
How do you apply that same headspace into comedy? Like, I've never been in a position where I've ever got to do comedy. I've never ever done a comedy. So it scares the
You
living
want to?
shit out. Oh, I'd love to, but it scares me so much because okay, wait, before I go further into that, how do you break down doing these comedy skits? Like, you're involved in the whole process. What is
Yeah.
your process of getting these made?
Oh, like logistically?
Like, from any
Okay, like
angle you feel.
yeah, I'll tell you exactly what I do.
Sick.
I usually so I block shoot everything because I don't do anything that's topical because it's just not my sense of humor. I'm
Mm.
much more observational, so something will happen and I'll be like, "Oh my, that's an idea. That's something." And I'll just write it down even if it's like in the middle of the night. I'll wake up and I'll be like, "I gotta write this down. That's something. Do that later."
Dope.
And then so I'll write usually 12 sketches, 13 sketches at a time.
Wow.
Um, like, I mean, it properly, they're not like in a Google, they're like full scripts, probably like 6 pages-ish. And then that usually takes me like month. Granted, I have ideas that just in my notes, and then I'll like
Yep.
go through and write them, and then I will cast them. And then I will look for locations and contact my crew and get availability. And then I will try and block shoot. So I try and do like 4 days. It's not I'd love to do it consecutively. Usually it's like
Tricky.
consecutive days and the next week it's 2 days. But 4 12-hour days where I shoot all of them, all
Amazing.
12, all 13, and then which makes sense financially because like I'm paying my crew by the day and then I'm getting a location and it just makes sense financially
That
that way.
is so many skits to shoot just like that, like once off.
Yeah, it's a lot. And then I have 12 sketches and then I will edit them and then I put them out. And then I
Oh,
have like a good month. I'm usually like 3 months ahead. So if you're watching something that comes out this week, I probably shot it like 2 3 months ago. So
jeez.
I'm never like, I have to put something out. Like I want to take my time and like
But
make sure it's good and then, take my time editing it and not be like constantly stressed. And then I usually have like a good month off. For example, like the month I had off, I was like, oh, this is perfect because I had that movie that I was shooting. And I was
yeah,
like, great, I don't have to worry about editing. So just staying ahead and because the second I'm very type A. So if I'm like
that's that.
if I'm not like very like neurotic and like I very
Uh,
detail oriented and I like to be on a schedule. So I know myself well enough to know that like if I am even like only a month ahead, I'm gonna start getting anxiety and I'm gonna just be like, ah.
I see.
So yeah, I mean that's the process. It's
And
very
working off those scripts, like how free flow are you from what's written on the page?
I'm trying to get so I as I've been doing this, it's I used to be so to the script because I was so nervous. I wasn't like I hadn't been doing it long enough to know that like I mean you're thinking about so many different things. I'm
Yeah,
thinking about like if I don't get this, then this isn't going to match in the edit and I wasn't like confident in my editing. It's just like I was very concerned that if I didn't get it how it was on the page that I wouldn't be able to edit it and then I would be
yeah,
fucked. I mean, now I'm writing for myself, which is a blessing because I know I'm gonna say this, but then I'm gonna do a take where I'm just riffing or if I'm writing for I mean, most of the time I'm writing for people that I know and I know their strengths and I know what they can do. I know that they're really good at riffing or I know that they're like
okay,
very dry. So I can kind of like if I know somebody is gonna riff, I'll write just a general baseline and
yeah.
then I'll know that they're gonna go and that they usually kill it. So I'd say or just for me, I'll usually just riff a lot.
I That's the one thing that it like terrifies me about what it is we do, is that just like if you watch the bloopers behind comedies, there's like 40 different options to one
Oh yeah.
line that they could have used. And it blows my mind that creatively someone can think on, and it's not like I sit at home and I write out 40 things, go to set the next day and try them. It's like on the spot. this is an idea, this is an idea, that's an idea, let's try this, throw this. And the person
Yeah.
in front of you is then talented enough to play off that as well, while trying to maintain, hey, we still have to end up at B.
Right.
We still have to get to the point of the scene. Like,
Right.
that's incredible that people know how to do that.
Yeah,
What?
I'm still working on it.
Well, you're killing it till now, so like,
But it's that's what makes it so fun. I mean, I'm so grateful that I get to work with my friends who I look up to, and I mean, I'm sure you've seen my videos with Brent Pella, who's one of my best friends. I'm editing a video right now where, I mean, we can't even get through. There is just like, I mean, there's easily like 14 minutes of us just dying. We cannot say it's just like we cannot stop laughing.
That's
And
brilliant.
like it's so much fun to eat, like it makes the whole process fun, like makes filming fun, it makes editing it fun, and it's us just trying to make each other laugh, and that's
Yep.
just what I love about this.
And that in some weird way covers the aspect for the viewer of like, wow, I'm watching into like a real relationship or like into a real friendship, because
Yeah.
all it is two people just trying to have a go at each other, which it takes you out of your head of like, oh, there's a camera here, or oh, I need to be funny. Like, you can't be funny to everyone, but you can to the person in front of you if you know them well enough.
Yeah, I mean there are times where Brent and I have done videos where they're not by any means the most successful videos ever, but we think they are so funny.
That's
And so
the
we're like,
best.
we're gonna do this.
Oh, you
Whether or
have
not
to.
people like it, I don't care.
No, but yeah, again, I feel like those are maybe your like videos that in 5 years' time people look back and they're like, shit, this was actually, it should have received more acclaim at the time. Like one of those,
I
like that
hope so.
kind of vibe. Yeah, 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 yeah. What has been your comedic inspiration? Because hearing you talk about comedy and watching you talk about it, you can clearly pick up how passionate you are about it. Where did that come from?
Childhood trauma, probably.
Fire,
But
fire.
like most people who do comedy,
What was
yeah,
mom, dad? Where?
all of it, the whole
Oh, okay,
thing,
okay.
it was just a shit show.
Whole vibe.
But um, I found that it was for me, comedy for me was just an escape, and I saw
Mm.
it was making me escape what I was going through, and then I realized the power in being able to do that for other people, and saying like, oh my god, I can be like the reprieve for somebody in their own life, and make them, like, no matter what is going on in this person's life, like I could just take them out of it,
Yeah,
like they could just like escape for a minute and like just laugh, and even if it's just for a second, like that's like you're being present and you are just enjoying just life for a moment, no matter what. And so for me, I'm like, I feel like that is truly my purpose on this planet. And it doesn't matter if it stops here and this is the end of the road. I don't get any bigger than that. Just knowing that I am able to do that right now, hopefully, at
mm,
least for just one person that's going through something like that, for me is like, I made it.
that's so sick. Again, it goes back to like, it's not about you, right? Like, as much as yes, obviously this is about you, it's about so many other people and making a difference like that, which is so sick about it. Um,
Cool.
yeah, I need to study so much more into comedy and understand it so much deeper. Like, why never stand up? Or is that
So
still coming?
I've done stand up. I love stand
Really?
up. And yeah, I've done it before. I was doing it for a little bit before COVID. And to be perfectly honest, the life of a stand up comedian, for me, it's like like I'm very m- uh, I don't know what the word that I'm looking for is. Like I think about like the long term. Like for me, even YouTube, I'm like, it's very like, I don't want to live on YouTube. I want, like, I know that I'm doing this to get here, to do this, and that's what I want. it's just a step. I can like look at the big picture and go like, what are the steps that I need to do to get there?
Understand.
Um, so for stand up, for me, it's like I think it's amazing. It's so hard. I love it. But if I follow that path, I don't want the life of a stand-up comedian. It's so hard. You're never home. It's such a hard life, and I don't want it. I wouldn't feel happy. I wanna be home. I wanna be it's still able to enjoy my life and do what I love, and I can do that doing this, and YouTube stuff helps my big picture goal, which is, like, acting comedic acting in film and TV. So, for me, that's why I feel like I should be focusing most of my energy on that.
Yeah. What is your, I mean, we don't have to go into the whole plan because that's obviously quite personal for you, but like with YouTube and comedy, what is your plan? Like, where do you want to go with it? Like, what is your dream outcome of it?
Um, I mean, I'd love to do more film stuff. I just wanna, like, either do a series or film with my friends that I love. Like, that's what I wanna do. I want, or that's really what it is, and I mean, I I knew from a very young age, which is weird, that I was like, I remember this was, like, before I even went to college, like, in New York. I was probably, like, 16, and I just went, like, I wanna act, and I know in my bones that I am not gonna be the girl that moves to LA and gets an audition and books and makes it. Like, I just knew I was like,
Really?
yeah, I really it's so weird, but I was like, I had the thought of, like, I will make it, but I'm gonna have to do it myself, and I don't know why that was a thought for me, but I just was like I just felt it, and I was like, Okay, like, I don't know what that means, but I just and I'm actually grateful that I had that because it kind of, like it lessened the blow of all the auditions I went on and didn't get. I was like, I kind of knew this was gonna happen.
Yeah.
But it's also, like, been gratifying to see, like, oh, that feeling was actually, like, that was correct.
Yeah.
It was
So you've
very odd.
known. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's quite strange to know that specific, like that's how it was going to be.
yeah, very weird. But I was just like, "Okay, then that's what it's gonna be." And so I think for me, of course, I've had to, like, pivot because I knew that, and that's so vague, but so it's like, like, what does that mean, though?
I
Should
don't
I,
know
like,
much,
start
but I know that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it's been, like, my plan, I guess, is, like, I want I've grown a following of people who like my stuff, which I'm so grateful for, and I've always been very careful to because I wanna do television and movies, and whether or not that means, I'm gonna have to write it myself, that's fine. I know I'm gonna have to, like, uh, get somebody's money to make it.
Yeah.
So I've always wanted the quality of what I put out there to be something so that someone can watch my stuff and go like, "Oh, I can see her on a bigger platform. Like, I can see this on TV." I never post anything that I shoot on I've never shot anything on a phone because I just want it I want what I put out to be a reflection of what I'm capable of
Mm.
with the resources that I have. I'm sure I could put film something on my phone, who can't? But it's, it's big picture.
Yeah.
It's like if I wanted to live on YouTube, I'd just or TikTok or whatever, what sure, I'd just do that, but
Yeah.
it's I want people to be able to see me in an elevated way. I don't
For
know if that makes
sure.
sense.
And no, no, completely. And there's a video that I want to find and just keep to the side that I want to play for you. That I sent to a friend of mine the other day, and it's a video basically speaking into how, especially nowadays within the industry, the people that find themselves sitting around hoping someone's going to give them a big break doesn't really happen anymore. You have the resources and the people around you to make things that then make other things and make other things. And along the way, you meet more people, you go more places, you have more resources, and so it kind of grows as well. But people within our industry and what it is we do, I've always believed have to have a calling to it. I
Hmm.
think it takes a very, very special kind of person to want to be in the space. Because yes, the highs are very high, but the lows are so super fucking low. It's highly empathetic people. It's very sensitive people. It's people that are so in touch with their emotion, but then at the same time, so connected to the methodical, systematic, learned way of doing what the job is. It's such a weird but beautiful balance that we have to find. And I sent him. Let's see if I can find it. Just sent him a lot of shit. Um, I don't know where the speaker. This is a speaker, right? Cool,
I don't know.
dude. I'm using like earphones from
I
like
don't, yeah, I don't
2007.
know.
Okay, I hope you hear this.
Okay.
Really want to be in our business, the business of being an actor. The days of thinking only as an actor are probably over. The most frustrated actors I know are the ones that are waiting for someone to give them the gig. You must make the gig. You must get the writers. You must get the directors. You must get the designers. You must get, if you're going to do it on film, you must get the cinematographers and everybody that makes filmed storytelling happen. If you're doing it on stage, you need those kinds of designers. You build your companies. You build your supports.
Is
Yeah,
that Jason Alexander?
I'll tell you right now. Yes, it is. Well, holy shit. Well done, dude.
So this is hilarious. So one of my dearest oldest friends is his son, and
No.
he's been in my stuff. And it's so funny to hear him. And he does the same. I mean, he is Gabe Greenspan, shout out to you. He is one of the funniest human beings I've ever met in my. I mean, I've known this kid since we grew up together, we went to summer camp together. And he does that I mean, he's a UCB guy. He's so quick. Talk about like having a million different answers
Yeah.
to something. He's like the king of that.
That's a gift.
So yeah.
Genuinely, that's a gift. Like
Yeah.
to be so sharp, like on the nose or on the button, like every
Yeah.
time. And it's I had a friend who I admire very, very, very much say to me recently, I kept complaining, as we do, about like people aren't writing things that like fit to what it is that I can do. Like unfortunately I can't play the 50-year-old 4 foot tall Asian lady. Like it's just not going to happen for me.
Sure.
So like I could give it all I have, but
Right.
I don't know if they'll take it. And he was like, dude, so why don't you just write the things that you want to be in? And reason I'm telling you the story is that I started doing exactly that, and we've started writing the show, and I'm so madly in love with it. And I went back to him, and I was like, dude, it's crazy how the understanding that I had of this industry and the understanding that I had of who it is that I wanted to be in it and where I wanted to fit was so one dimensional because it's all I knew or all I thought I needed to know. Whereas now I'm learning, even if it's small aspects of like how to write, what do
Yeah.
producers do, how to piece this together, how to like tape people, how to find the chemistry, how to write script, how like all these different responsibilities, I guess, and different skills that you start picking up on.
Yeah.
Taking that back to you, what part of this entire process for you is your favorite and least favorite part of this?
Um, Performing is my favorite part. Making people laugh, laughing with my friends and making people laugh. And I would say that, I mean, that's my favorite thing to do. But I think my least favorite part, and something that I'm trying to not, I'm really trying to like reframe my brain
Okay.
into enjoying it and saying that it's not my least favorite part. Just saying that and pretending, like just tricking myself, is writing, because I've never considered myself a writer. I mean, there are so many brilliant writers, and that is what they do. Just like I'm a performer. I mean, writers are writers, and they're so good at it. And um I just have never considered myself a writer. And so I'm very good at dialogue. I know that, but it's structurally, and I continue to try to improve and get better. And as I am learning more, it's becoming more enjoyable to me. But that's for me always like, because it's so dependent. Comedy especially, it's very sketch comedy in particular, it's very formulaic, and there's a structure that you a few different structures that you have to follow in order to get there. So I think that for me is like the most challenging part, but I'm learning to love it more and more as I
Yeah.
learn more.
That's where like we complete opposite in terms of writing.
Really?
Oh, 1,000%. Like dialogue,
Yeah.
like I had to sit with a scene yesterday, um, and try break down this conversation. And I just had a meeting with our writers, like literally she hadn't gotten home yet, like 20 minutes before sitting down. And I messaged her and I was like, I need to phone you. Like I want to put my head through a wall. Like there's so many different directions to go in terms of the actual words that it's so overwhelming for me that
Oh
like
my gosh.
I could be
But I
like,
mean, it's so that's the fun part, because the way that people talk, I mean, I guess it's characters, right? Like the way that people talk, that's what makes them that person.
yes,
I mean, and that's so much fun, because if you write, I mean, even like the ums and the uhs and the, I guess it's just, there's a person that says that, and then there's a person that goes, no, I need it now. Period.
1,000%. Exactly. So like sitting with a scene, and it's a scene between male and female, and he's in one headspace and she's in one headspace, and she's extremely manipulative and she kind of has his hold over him, and we have to write this thing. I started writing, hi, how are you, words, blah 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 blah, stopped, and I was like, I'm so tired of this. So I started writing in a way that was like, she feels like this, she knows that if she behaves in this way, she'll get this outcome because she's
Mhm,
confident in her ability to do that.
mhm.
Then I can write it from his point. And I'm like, okay,
Right.
is he smart enough to it that he knows what she's trying to do? So my two options are yes, he knows, and no, he doesn't. What would the two outcomes be of either of those things? And so for me, it's like a giant spider diagram.
Yeah.
I need help of like, all the different options. And then I go, okay, according to character, which of these options would make the most logical sense for them? Put
Right.
that down, phone the writer in tears and be like, I don't know how to put words on pages. And then when you get in the room and you've got to like tape the people, they now bring a whole nother aspect to what you've put there that I'm like, oh shit, how much did it actually matter? Like it's
And
such a process with this with writing that
yeah,
I've become such a fan over the
it's
past like
fun.
3-4 months of writing. Like whether I'm ever good at it or shit at it for the rest of my life, whatever the outcome is, it's so admirable that people know how to write that beautifully. Like,
Yeah, it puts it in perspective. I mean, it's a whole nother level. That's why I'm saying, like, I'm not, because you have to be like a wizard to be able to write a full, complete story that with ebbs and I mean, I can come in and make them talk like how people talk, but
yeah,
that's where, I mean, everything else is just, it's a whole nother ball
it's
game.
insane. There's been, I don't know if you've seen either of these, you probably have, two movies that I've been obsessing over at the moment is Rebel Without a Cause, and Brokeback Mountain. And
You know, I've never seen Brokeback Mountain.
neither had I, so I'm not gonna act like I'm watching these like high-end movies. Uh, had never seen it until like 2 days ago. Um, Mind blowing. Like
Really?
I sat yeah, and like I don't want to be blowing it up and be like, oh, because everyone says it's good, fair. I literally sat the entire movie paying attention to every word. There was
Yeah.
like nothing about the film. And yes, there's a lot of, obviously at the time, what was controversial
Right.
throughout the film. But to me, it like really doesn't matter. It plays no part in it where it's distracting in any way. It's
Right.
so beautifully put together and put into the story that nothing feels out of place. And yeah, it's just, I had to say that the script is just phenomenal. Phenomenal. Rebel Without a Cause as well. Like,
The classic.
damn, it's a good movie. Like, I've watched it 3 times in the past week. Just like going back around, watching it again. Like, it blows my mind how people can do this. What I wanted to ask you as well, sorry, before I keep ranting about writing.
No, I'm here. Tell me.
You said you type A, which is
Yes.
super like pedantic is a negative word. I want to use a positive one, which is like,
No, you can do that.
like
Organized?
super in charge, super organized. There we go.
Yeah.
Do you struggle with anxiety?
Oh, very much so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm which is probably a reason why I was like, I'm gonna take my career in my own hands because I can't sit here anymore.
Yep.
But yeah, I am learning to let go and find a balance. It's been a lot of work for me. I used to be like very like I will not have fun. I will only do my career and like that's it and da da da. But I have recently over the last year and a half or something, I've let go a lot, and it's actually it creatively has helped me immensely because I now have a social life, which I've never had before, and I am interacting and engaging with people and getting so much material, which is really fun. And so yeah, so I do have anxiety, but it's now I think better than it was.
What about your anxiety? Like, what would make you anxious? Like, what were triggers for you of like, oh, that gets it going?
Like work wise would be if I am not like very ahead of what I have.
Okay.
Like if I don't have enough sketches in the bank, and I feel like, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to like have a post or something like that. That usually gets me anxiety. I mean, dumb stuff like so when I like literally like inconsequential things will give me anxiety. Like if someone will text me and say like, "Hey, can you talk?" Immediate anxiety. Like, "Are you okay? What has happened? What like worst case scenario?" My brain just goes there. What did I do? Are you alive?
I just reply immediately, "I'm sorry."
Yeah, I whatever it is, I'm sorry. Are you okay? Are we still friends?
Out of my hands.
Yeah. So, I don't know, but I'm learning to meditate and breathe through things and I'm trying not to like jump to the worst case scenario. Sometimes sometimes it's good.
It's like a safety mechanism apparently. Like when we
Is
do
it?
Yeah, to kind of like jump to the worst case because it kind of feels
Survival.
like right, and you've also predicted it. So you've gone like,
Right.
Oh, the person messaging me, they want to not be friends anymore. So anything that happens other than that, I'm like, oh, this is nothing. This,
That literally is every conversation I have where I'm like, "Oh my God, yeah, that's it. That's fine."
Yeah, exactly. You're like, oh, that actually wasn't that bad,
It's usually never bad, which is hilarious that my brain still goes there.
Like 90% of the time, everything's actually okay. My brain's one of those brains that are like, yeah, but I'm here for you in case,
Yeah.
It's never a 0% chance, which is why we have these thoughts. Yeah, exactly.
Right. We're prepared.
Looking into like experiences throughout your career, was there ever a skit or a project that you were working on that you had that like aha moment of being like, shit, I'm gonna do this forever? I know you said that you knew it from like really, really early on in life. Can you recall a moment of like I've had a moment where like I've surprised myself in that I've been like, damn, we actually kind of, I say we, voices in my head, kind of being like, cool, we actually kind of pulled that together and like enjoyed it and, didn't have to stress. I could actually hold my own. Can you recall what the moment was for you?
No, I think my moment was just saying like, oh, that was like from literally being in my room, just being like, no, I'm gonna make it. I just am like it's gonna be me. There's never been another option. Like, this is like that. This is it for me.
From
And
there
I've
on
always known
out,
that. What?
from there on out, you were just like, this
Yeah.
is me.
This is it.
It's
Yeah.
like, you were never like, hey, let me go like be an accountant for 6 months.
Never one time. There's no, I couldn't even think of what else I would be doing. And that's not a good, I mean, all my eggs are in this basket, so it has to work.
But that's when it happens, right? That's when it breaks through, when you have the wherewithal to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
No pressure.
Yeah, everything's okay.
Everything's gonna be great.
And in terms of like really bad experiences, can you recall an audition? I have one like loaded in the back of my head constantly for this question of like an audition that was like really embarrassing or really bad. If you have none, I'm gonna be like, okay, listen.
I'm sure there are. I mean, I can't think of one off the top of my head, but I'm sure I've gone in and just been like, what? Yeah. But I really try to just go in, do the thing, and then leave and forget about it.
Best way to do it.
I just like, it's mentally, because for a long time I didn't, and I just like sat there, and this was before I even started making my own shit, and I'm like, am I gonna get it? Are they gonna call? I should probably email my agents and see like if they liked me, and like, can you ask? Like, yeah. Yeah. So what did they think? Are there callbacks or like what?
Yeah. I'd be like, I can do it again, you know, like I could come back tomorrow.
They're like, no, we're good.
Yeah.
You can go.
It's more like different t-shirt, you know, like change it up a little bit, you know, wear some red.
Yeah. I've gone, I remember I went, this was years ago. I went and I had an audition, and I think it must have been like a commercial audition. I was too early, and they were like, you can't be here this early. And they were like, you need to get here at the time that you're supposed to be here. And I left.
What?
I know. It was like
you are too on time. We are not.
Yeah, I was like 30 minutes early, and they were like, she was like, no.
That's where you book the job and you show up 30 minutes late and be like, but you said don't be.
I know.
That's silly.
It was like, so, I mean, I talk about anxiety. I always have anxiety that I'm going to be late. So I'm always so early. And I was early because I didn't want to be late, because like nobody, when I tell you in LA, like nobody, I mean, maybe 10% of people are on time or early. Everybody's late.
Really?
Everybody's late. Yeah, there's traffic. People are late here. It's just a thing. And I mean, I lived in New York. People are on time. Like when I was in school, I learned like, if you're early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. And if you're late, you're fired. That's what they taught me.
Wow. Okay.
So when I'm early for things, because who wants to wait?
But apparently there's this very big divide between East and West Coast people.
Yeah.
They're completely different.
I mean, I wouldn't say completely, but there's some differences.
Yeah.
I'm from the East Coast. My whole family's from the East Coast. And I would say the biggest difference when I moved from New York to LA was people in New York will tell you like if they don't like you, and people in LA will be like, I love you. And then they'll be like, she's a fucking bitch.
Really?
Yeah, it's really weird. I don't know.
That's so.
I mean, that's a generalization, but for the most part,
but like generalizations are there for a reason, right? Like,
right.
Protect you against the masses.
Right.
I kind of have someone. Damn, I said this to someone recently. I'd kind of rather have someone just come to my face and just be like, "Hey, dude."
Sure. Yeah. Me too.
Don't like you, and I'd be like, "Cool." A lot of the time, I don't either. So like,
yeah, exactly.
At least we have that in common. So let's just not like me together, you know. Whereas, we saw that a little bit in Vancouver.
Mm-hmm.
I love Vancouver and I love the people. So shout out to them. Please don't hurt me. So passive aggressive. So you can purposefully push someone's buttons and nothing happens. It's the weirdest thing of like, South Africa's very different.
Right.
You've never been here, right?
No, I haven't.
Okay,
I've been to Africa, not South Africa.
where in Africa?
Tanzania and Zanzibar.
Like a beach holiday vibe.
I went like on safari. It was really cool. It was my first trip out of like the United States.
Oh,
went to
wow. Okay, and you went to
Yeah.
Africa. That's fire. Shout out to that, because most people are just like, we went skiing. You know, it's
No,
like,
I was
that's an
like,
answer.
give me a 46-hour plane ride.
Dope. Yeah. Let's get there next week. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
wild.
That's fun. South Africa is very different. So, like, South Africa, I would never go up to someone and just be like, you know, like purposefully be difficult or like cause trouble in any way.
Yeah.
Like, there's consequence for like behaving a certain way here, right? Where,
Yeah,
like,
but as it should be.
thank you, as it should be,
Right.
right? In Vancouver, it was, at least in my limited experience, it was like you'd watch people upset each other, like on the bus, for example. That's a very cute dog. What's his name?
Name is Hobbs.
Hobbs.
Hobbs, Hobbes.
That's adorable. Hi, Hobbs. I love dogs. I need a dog. And you'd be on the bus and people would be like, they'd bump into each other. And there'd be this like, I'm sorry. And you're just like, oh, that person wants to kill you in your sleep. Like, you can see it in their eyes, but they're so scared to say something that's like incorrect.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like, oh, I'm so sorry. I like shouldn't have done that. And they sit down and you see them like gnawing on the back of the seat in front of them. And I'm like, you guys, just say it. Just be like, hey, dude, fuck, you know, and then you can like hash it out, you know, like it was such a strange setting.
Weird.
Yeah, maybe it's similar in LA.
Maybe. Probably.
I'll get there one day and then I'll hit you up and be like, hey, I've come to LA and everyone's telling me that they like me. So I guess this is the place for me.
People love me here. Kind of the best.
Just be like, Nikki, I don't know what you're talking about. Everyone likes me.
You were wrong.
Yeah, I'll phone you and be like, Nikki, you were so right. She was so fucking wrong. She was so
yeah. Did you see her on my podcast?
Yeah, never again. Never, ever. Oh my word. Looking forward, what's up for you next that you would want to talk about or promote or get excited about? I know it's a horrible question to ask someone in our industry of like, hey, what do you in? Yeah, I just went through that. But yeah, I like to talk about like anything that's got you excited and passionate for the future that's coming up that you'd want to dive into.
Hollywood Grit. I'm not sure when it's coming out, but it will be out hopefully the end of this year, maybe next year. So that'll be great. It's a feature I'm in. Love Virtually is a movie that came out a couple months ago. It's great. Watch that. It's on Amazon Prime. No, Apple TV. It's on Apple TV.
Oh, sick. Okay.
Yeah, and then what else? Repoed. Hopefully we sell that pilot soon and that'll be out. And then other than that, just weekly sketches on YouTube and Facebook. So
there we go. And your podcast.
And the podcast. Sorry, Mom.
There we go.
Available wherever podcasting is.
Literally everywhere right now. Yeah.
All the places.
I subscribed to everything this morning of all of your stuff.
Oh, thank
you. Yeah, it's dope. It's really gangster. But thank you so much for your time. Thank you for coming on. It's so much fun to just shoot the shit and kind of have a chat with you.
Same.
Yeah, very excited to have you on soon again, as well as to see any other sketches that you create. Guys, please go follow her on all the different platforms. I promise you will not be disappointed. It's very, very difficult to find one, talented people, as well as two very entertaining, positive people as well nowadays. So you've got both going there. So yeah, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.